The Daily Survey with Rhea Rams is about to go live online. Catch the top monster hits of the day based on your votes and other TDS goodness.
Streaming video on the Monster Facebook page at RX931, the Monster YouTube channel at RX931, and twitch.tv/Monster RX931.
Your TDS host, Rhea Rams. Stand by and enjoy the program.
Friends with the monster, calling for a monster. 'Cause I'm in love with a monster.
Monster RX93.1.
RX93.1. Welcome back to the Daily Survey. You got me, Rhea Rams, and we have a very special guest with us today, Monsters. Let us welcome GRENTPEREZ.
Hi.
All right. Well, we do have a lot of monsters who may or may not be familiar with you, but, just to kick this all off, why don't you introduce yourself to the monsters?
Hi, I'm GRENTPEREZ. I'm from Western Sydney, Australia. And I make music. I just released a song called Fuzzy Feeling. And yeah, actually before this I was just doing some car stuff. So I was, getting into the music mood.
Oh, okay. Well, that's going to be something that we're going to be talking about in a little bit. But I want to know first, you are somebody who grew up in Australia, but you do have Filipino roots, right?
Yes.
So how is that, like the mix of cultures? How did it influence you both personally and your music?
Man, it was really nice growing up. I love that I grew up Filipino. I wish I spoke more Tagalog, but it was really nice to, find Filipino friends, because during my high school, I was the only Filipino person in my school. So it was really weird. It was a mix of cultures where I had to be very, very Australian. But then after high school, I, you know, discovered more of my Filipino side when I hung out with more Filipino people. But it's influenced me a lot in my music. Filipinos love love.
Yep.
Every every Filipino OPM song has to do about love. All of the teleseries and all of the movies,
Yeah.
all revolved around love. So I was just surrounded by these notions of love, and I just wanted to write so much about it. I wanted to, write what I was hearing.
Yes, you are absolutely right about that. Filipinos, when it comes to love, it's like that's all we talk about. Love, heartbreak, right?
Yeah,
That's
it's huge.
everything. Yeah, and I think that we can see that in some of your music, but we'll get to that later. I am curious though, have you ever been to the Philippines?
Yes. I always love going back home. I was born in Australia, but the last time I was in Philippines was with Rex Orange County. I opened
Oh
for him
wow.
in September, I think it was. But it was short. We played the Araneta, so it was
Right.
good.
Yeah, that's not too long ago. Is there any like favorite Filipino food, Filipino culture that you have?
My favorite food, hands down, sinigang, always.
Oh, okay, but the question is what kind of sinigang? Is it like the pork, the fish, the shrimp?
Pork sinigang for
Okay,
sure.
okay. Well,
Yeah.
anyway, we're here to talk about your music. So I want to know
What?
for those of you who aren't very familiar with your work, how would you describe your music and the kind of vibe that you want to bring to your audience?
Yeah, I would say that my music at the moment revolves around like indie jazz. So it's like a mix of indie music, indie rock, and whatnot, and then jazz elements as well. Um, I would say it's very smooth. My voice is
Mm.
usually very smooth and very charming. The music has a lot of jazzy elements. But as of recently, I've tried to go into this more groovier world, more dancier world. But yeah, that's my music. It's very sung, very singable.
And where would you say this came from? Like you say it's jazzy and now a little bit more dancey. What would you say made you delve into this type of music, into this genre of music?
I just listened to a lot of different music growing up. Growing up, my parents used to listen to Eagles and Bread and the Beatles. And then from my siblings, from my ate and kuya, I listened to a lot of like R&B, like Usher and Neo and Music Soul Child. Um, but when I started listening to what I wanted to listen to, I listened to like Rex Orange County, and he has these songs like "Loving Is Easy," "Sunflower," and it's all like
Hmm.
indie and jazzy at the same time, and I wanted to be like that too. So I guess it's come from what I've started to listen to.
Okay, and when was it that you started to realize like, oh, I have talent when it comes to music?
um, I'm still realizing that, to be honest. but but when I started doing YouTube, I started posting more on YouTube. I did covers, like "Sing You to Sleep" covers, um, and people started, you know, liking. People started to like my account. They thank you. They started to like my account. They started to like me and my music. It wasn't just my voice or whatever. So then I started writing songs, and then more and more people started to like it. So I was like, oh, I think I need to do this. I think I need to leave university and start
Oh,
music.
right. And speaking of your YouTube covers, this gained a lot of attention early on. I mean, Sashkia over here, a big fan of yours, says she remembers your YouTube videos. And you have a
Thank
lot of
you.
fans here, Maxi as well. Yeah, how did this experience help you grow more? Like how did I think you started with covers, right? You started
Yeah.
with covers. And then like you mentioned earlier, you started writing your own songs.
Mm.
What made you what was that one thing? For sure you had like your first song, right? What was that one thing that made you feel like okay, I need to write about this and it has to be my own song?
Um, I don't know. The one thing, it's weird. Um, Cause my ate and kuya always encouraged me to write my own music, and growing up, I never did. I never wrote. Um, it wasn't until I was in this youth group, YFC. I was in YFC, and
Okay.
they had a songwriting competition, and I joined it. I didn't win, but I knew my song was good. You know, I knew my
Mm,
song was like, I was like, no, this has something. So then I was like, okay, maybe let's not write like a youth song. Let's write about love. And as soon as
okay.
I did that, I was like, wow, this is nice. I really, really like this. I like what I'm doing. And I had a lot of fun. You know, I think it was really good. I think the first song I ever wrote on Spotify was called "Wait for You," which is very
Wait
like
for you.
R&B influence. Yeah.
Okay. But is there a song like what's the first song you wrote that hasn't been released? Is there one or was it already like or all of
Yeah.
them?
Um, I think there's two of the first songs that I wrote. One of them didn't even make it to anywhere. One of them is called, I think it's called "Someday," which I wrote for my girlfriend.
Oh.
And then the second one was called "Loving Isn't Easy" or "Lost and Found." I think there's a few. "Lost and Found" is a notable one. A lot of people love "Lost and Found," and I never released it.
Well, we hope you release it soon if a lot of people loved it, right?
We'll see. I don't know.
But I gotta say, "Loving Isn't Easy" sounds interesting, especially since you did sing with Rex Orange County, who sang
Yeah.
"Loving Is Easy." That
Yeah.
would be very interesting. The totally different perspective.
Yeah.
Anyway, you went from creating singing videos in your own bedroom to performing at music festivals, concerts. How was the transition? How did that feel for you?
It was actually very much the same. For me, it felt the same. Uh, the difference being instead of comments and like emojis, reaction faces, it was real life people screaming and real reactions from people. But it honestly feels the same. If I'm like live streaming, I'll do the same thing as if I'm performing on stage, you know? The main difference is there's no lag.
Right. Oh man, I mean, that's a huge success. Like you've made it so big from just YouTube covers, which also gained a lot of attention to being to having your song like everywhere on TikTok, and of course to performing live as well. But when it comes to your songs, when writing your songs, do you have any rituals or habits, or what is your process when it comes to songwriting?
Oh man. Um my process is very boring, to be honest with you.
Mm.
I tend to work very fast when I'm writing a song. I'll think of chords and I'll just play the chords and I'm like, "Ooh, that sounds nice." Like if I
Uh-huh.
like the sound of it, I'll hum a melody to it, like na, 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 and I'm like, "Oh, this makes me feel sad," or this makes me feel happy. And then I'll start thinking of lyrics after that. But when it comes to writing lyrics, I think about, you know, the stories that I've heard. I haven't necessarily experienced a lot in my life other than like sure traveling and whatnot. But when
Mhm.
it comes to life, things in general, like breakups or um, losing someone or I don't know, just random stories. I tend to use other people's stories or something that I've seen in a movie or just making it up. You know, when I write a song, I kind of think of it to be a movie. I'm directing a movie and it never
Oh.
existed before. I try to at least. Sometimes it doesn't really work, but it's okay.
Yeah, I mean, it is trial and error all the time, right? And I think it's interesting what you said that when you write a song, you think of it as directing a movie
Mm.
because there's so many layers that go into that. And, by saying that, you could just tell how well thought of all your songs are. Now, your audience has grown with you throughout the years. A lot of people here are commenting saying that they've slept to all your YouTube covers, to your songs, and then they went to see you in festivals like Wonderland.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah, so you have grown as a musician and your fans have grown with you as well. Now, how do you adapt to the times? Do you think that you tailor your music to your maturing listeners, or do you think that you cast a more net wide, so to speak? Like, do you go with the trends? Like, you know,
I sorry.
go ahead.
I think Honestly, as of recently, I've just been writing what I think sounds pretty cool. A lot of the music that I want to release coming up will be a little bit different. So, I'm always just down for experimentation. I think an important thing about being creative is that it is still an outlet of yourself. Like it's your form of expression. And if you feel like you're limiting that expression, then you might be doing something wrong, unless that's what you want to do. But for me, I want to try to stay true to myself, for the most part.
Right.
There's in some songs I'll give into trends, but for the most part, I'm just trying to make what's cool.
Right. Now, this is a question like I'm genuinely curious about. Do you
Hmm.
think that you can hop on trends? Like, you know how a lot of songs now are tailored for TikTok challenges and all, but also at the same time stay true to yourself and to your own kind of music? Do you think those two can kind of coincide?
I think so. I think so. Because you can always make a catchy chorus, like a "Whoa, I'm listening to this catchy chorus. What is this? This is amazing."
Mhm.
It's so relatable. But then the lyrics and the verse can be very personal. And I
Right.
think that's a very cool balance to have. Um, Sometimes I try to write with like TikTok and the social media in mind, but usually I try not to. Yeah.
Right. I like that. And now you did mention that you have a new song called Fuzzy Feeling, and it has this
Yes.
very dreamy romantic feel, but I want to know, what is the story behind this song?
Yeah. This song actually existed before I started working with Benny Sings. I wrote it in the UK with one of my friends. Um, and I was like, ooh, this. I was like, okay, that's very, very catchy, but I want this, I want a groove. I want Benny Sings, So I found a way to get in contact with Benny Sings. And I went to Amsterdam to see him, and he was very, very nice and very lovely. And the song is just a cheesy love song about the feelings that I get when I'm with my partner. Um,
Oh.
and yeah, it's so cheesy and cute. Because yeah, I do get a fuzzy feeling. So it's totoo yun, you know.
Totoo yun. Yes, and it I can tell that it's something that's very close to your heart, something that you actually feel. If you translate fuzzy feelings to Tagalog or
Mm.
Filipino, I feel like it would be kilig, right?
Oh, correct.
Right?
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
right.
So I feel like this song is really just for those of you who want to feel kilig, or for those of you who are in this place in your life that's very kilig, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah. I
so
like that.
the inspiration behind your song would be your girlfriend, and I love that. Now, can you tell us a little bit more about like the creative process behind both the lyrics and also the production of this track?
Yeah. Um, with the lyrics actually changed quite a lot. The first version of the song was the first verse was like, "Hey, there's one thing about you I must confess. It's something you do right to my head." And it was more like playful in a way, but part of me wanted to change that a little bit. I wanted to make it a little bit more moody and a little bit dark. So then I thought like, don't stop trying to love me, so I keep dying when um and that melody felt more like a hug to me. The dum da
Oh.
da dum. It sounds very like old school, like 70s. And it's very akin to what I listen to. Um and the creative process behind the production, Benny Sings is just a genius. I think
Mhm.
I don't know how his brain works. When I first started listening to him produce, I was like, "Oh my gosh, what is he doing to that guitar?" Because it just sounds like beep, 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 beep. And I'm like, what is this? What is going on? But then he'll layer like six guitars on top of each other, and then it's this crazy progression, and then like his piano playing is so iconic and so lovely. And he just has this groove that just keeps running. Honestly, I just let Benny Sings do a bunch of the production stuff, and then I got him to send me a lot of the layers, and I mixed them all around, and I changed the song, and I flipped it around, and I added stuff here and there, and did a bunch of harmonies and vocal lines. So it was a very collaborative process, this song.
Right. Now, speaking of collaborations, you love Benny Sings, and you actually were able to collaborate with him. But is there anybody else that you'd like to collaborate with? Anybody at all?
Um, ah, Anybody at all? It's always such a big question. I would
Right.
always love to, collab with Rex because, I'd say that he's what got me into wanting to write music. So I'll say Rex for sure, but I'd
Mhm.
also love to work with like Tyler the Creator, Daniel Caesar,
Oh,
Filipino artists like Juan Carlos. Um, I hung out with Paolo Sandejas
right.
when I was in LA recently, and man, I would love to write a song with him or like write for him or whatever. It'd be cool.
Right. Well, like Rowan says, let that collab happen. Actually, let all those collaborations happen.
Let's do
And
it.
we are,
Let's do it.
yes, that we are going to be looking forward to all of that. But what is next for you, Grant? Like, do you have any exciting projects or tours in the works that your fans can look forward to?
Yeah, I've been teasing this weird song that's so different to everything that I've released. I really, really like it. It's called 2DK or Two Drunk Kids. Um,
Oh,
and I've been teasing that everywhere on my Instagram and whatnot. Because I just want to put it out, and it'll be, something maybe around November, something in November.
okay, okay.
So look
Two
forward to
drunk
that.
kids.
Yeah, Two Drunk Kids. And tour not announced yet. I don't know what I'm not. I don't know what we're gonna do. Not sure yet. So no
Oh,
promise.
but there is something cooking up, I say.
Maybe. Maybe. I
All
don't know.
right.
I'm innocent. I don't know.
Well, as an artist now who's still growing and finding your place in the global music scene, what's the one message or feeling that you hope to leave with all your listeners, especially your Filipino listeners?
Um. Kumusta sa mga Filipino listeners? Um. I just want you guys to know that you can be yourselves. Be comfortable with who you are and who you want to be. But always look out for one another. I'd say this world is becoming ever more separate and isolating. So I'd say, be yourselves, embrace yourself, but embrace each other, diba?
Right. The Filipino accent is crazy. I love that. But of course, you do have a lot going on for you. You have a new song coming up, quote unquote not tour in the works.
No tour,
So
no tour.
if all the listeners, if your fans want to stay updated, where can they find you online for updates?
You can find me anywhere: Instagram, TikTok, Spotify, YouTube, in real life. But under Grant Perez, that's GRENTPEREZ, Grant Perez.
All right, so monsters, again, if you guys want to stay updated on Grant here, you can find him everywhere online. That's at Grant Perez. All right, and I just want to say thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us here on the Monster. Hopefully, one day you can perform here in the station as well. The next time you come to the Philippines, it looks like you have a lot of fans who are looking forward to that. A lot of people are hoping that you come here. So
Let's,
we are gonna
let's do
be
it.
yeah,
Let's
we are
do
going to
it.
be waiting for that. All right. But thank you so much for joining us. And if there's anything else that you want to say to the monsters, feel free.
Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for having me, Ria. I've had a lot of fun. This heart is for everybody here. Maraming salamat. Mahal kita. Wait, mahal kayo. Yeah. something like that.
Yep, you got it. Mahal ko kayo is the right term. You got it. You got it. But yes, that was it with GRENTPEREZ Monsters. Thank you so much for joining us. But for now, it is time for us to get back to the music, playing you a track called That's What I Love, only here on The Monster. Bye, everyone.
Monster exclusive interview only on Manila's hottest Monster RX 93.1.